What's going on? Stop Me Project. How you living? It is Wednesday, June 5th. And if you haven't already figured out by the theme song, the opening theme song, it is National Running Day. That's right, all things running on June 5th. Apparently somewhere along the lines, someone or some people decided that they were going to make June 5th National Running Day. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about all things running today. It's kind of timely, looking for a new topic for a new podcast this week, and it just so happened that today is National Running Day, so I figured I'd talk a little bit about one of the things that I love, I'm obsessed with, maybe a little obsessive compulsive, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, I just want to cover some things that have gone on lately in the world of running, track and field, road racing, things that are coming up, just all things running, just something to talk about, something I feel pretty passionately about. I've been doing it my whole life. If you've been following the podcast, or you know me personally, or know a little bit about me, I've been running for a long time. I'm 37 years old, and I ran my first race when I was 5. It was a 5-mile race in Point Pleasant, put on by the Point Pleasant Rotary Club, and they had a 10 and under division, and the 10 and under division first place was a fish tank, and I wanted a fish tank really bad. So what I did in order to get that fish tank was go out and drag my tiny little body, probably all 40 pounds of me, through the mean streets of Point Pleasant for 5 miles, and ended up running a tad over 48 minutes, and walked away at the end of the day with a new fish tank. Now, having looked back at that, I kind of think it might have been a little bit of a ploy by my parents, and if not my parents, by my dad, to kind of trick me into running, at least on that day. From what I can recall, I wanted a fish tank, but I don't think my parents were up for the purchase, wanted to get me a fish tank, and my dad was in the Rotary Club, and just so happened that the 10 and under division first place was a nice brand new fish tank. So I went after it, got the fish tank. There was a little bit of a discrepancy. There was another kid that ran, and you know how parents can be. You've read the articles in the newspapers and seen things on the news of parents and coaches and all kinds of crazy scuffles and whatnot, but I seem to remember there was some sort of dispute between the father of the boy that got second and my dad, but a little bit of drama always seems to find its way towards the old man from time to time at athletic events, but that's what makes him him, and that's why I love him. He's a crazy son of a bitch, and so am I. So that's a little bit of a taste of my first running experience. From there, I wasn't like one of those crazy kids that was out training every day as a little kid. I was pretty much an average kid for the most part. Played rec soccer and all that stuff, and stickball and baseball and football, on the weekends and after school with the friends at the parks. I wasn't out running miles at 5, 6, 7 years old, and my middle school only had a track team, so I wasn't running cross country or anything like that. I played soccer and didn't really get into running full time until I got into high school, and even then I wrestled in the wintertime, so my training was broken up by my wrestling season. I did run occasionally during the wrestling season for cutting weight purposes, but just long miles and stuff like that, and really got into it full time year round when I got into college, and then the rest is kind of history, as they say. And so it wasn't another little aside with the running on my end. It was I went to a school where running wasn't taken that seriously, and we had a team that was kind of like the Bad News Bears. There was another guy by the name of Terrence Fagan who was pretty studly, and he was leaps and bounds ahead of me throughout high school. He was a year ahead of me as well, and I've been running for a long time, and he was one of the most mentally tough sons of bitches I've ever encountered when it came to putting his mind to something and just going out and doing it. Looking back and having been a coach now for over a decade, and seeing what people do training-wise, looking at Terrence's program through high school, and to know what he did training-wise, but then to see how well he performed, it's just a testament to how tough he was. And it was pretty amazing, and I definitely looked up to him. But again, he was, I think running was important to him, but it wasn't a lifestyle for him like it was for me. And at the time, they used to call me Gear, because I used to have all the cool running gear. I was the only kid on the team that would run in running shorts, and I was always into the track stats and all that sort of stuff. So even from an early age, I've been a track geek, and I've been fortunate. I always talk about some of my greatest experiences, or one of the best weeks of the year for me is getting to go to running camp. Looking forward to that. Running Works running camp is coming up in a few short months, and I'll be there again in Pennsylvania. I've been there. This will be my 5th year there. I also spent some time at the Colt camp, which is now the Bennett running camp. Spent some time there as an athlete, spent some time there as a counselor, and then also had brought some teams there as a coach. So yeah, running camp is a great week, and it reminds me of simpler times when life was a little less stressful, and all you really had to worry about was going to school and getting your running done. So I look forward to that week every week. It's a good chance to catch up with some old friends that are coaches throughout the state, and yeah, it's just a fun weekend. But enough about me and my running past and all that jazz. Things that are going on running-wise. Today is the New Jersey State Meet of Champions, Track and Field Championships, in I believe it's still in Plainfield. Always a great day. The New Jersey Meet of Champions, another day that was fortunate enough to partake as an athlete, but then also was very fortunate to guide some athletes along the way to the New Jersey State Championships. I believe the highest performance athlete that I ever coached was 4th place at the New Jersey State Championships. So that's today. Good luck to all the athletes and all my friends that are coaching. Hopefully you'll come home with some fast times, and hopefully the weather will cooperate. It won't be too hot. You won't have any lightning delays or cancellations, and everything will go off without a hitch. But again, always a great day up there in Plainfield at Frank Jost Field, and it's just a good reunion of sorts to see people that you've known throughout the years and all that stuff. Coaches come from all over the state, people you don't get to see all that often, so it's cool to reconnect, and definitely miss that day for sure, especially even more so now being out here in California right now. So good luck to everyone at the Meet of Champions today. Also, I'd like to give a shout out and wish luck to my, I guess, I don't even know how I would call this, but they're not teammates, but my alma mater, Monmouth University. They have 2 athletes competing at the NCAA championships that are starting today and going through Saturday. So I'd like to wish good luck to 2 athletes and the coaches that are out there, Coach Joe, Coach Abe, and maybe Coach Hirsch or Coach Devin is out there as well with their 2 athletes. I apologize if I butcher this gentleman's name. I believe it's Erwal Jeffrey. He's a shot putter. He's competing, and I'd like to congratulate him. There's been a long line of shot putters and field event athletes from Monmouth University that have participated at the NCAA championships. So best of luck, Mr. Jeffrey, in the shot put. Much respect. And also on the women's side, there is a 400-meter hurdler. Her name is Rachel Watkins, and she's pretty fast. She's run 400 hurdles in 58 seconds and change. So best of luck to you guys, and hope you guys enjoy Eugene, Oregon, Tracktown, USA. I've never been, but it's on my bucket list of places to go. I definitely want to check out Eugene in the near future. It is one of the running capitals in the world. I look at it maybe more as like a track and field capital, not of the world, of the United States, because there's some other places in the U.S. where running is pretty big, and I think Eugene and the University of Oregon tend to be more track and field focused. They've had quite a few championships there, both NCAA and U.S. national and Olympic trials there throughout history, and even more so recently in the past couple years, now that Vin Lanana is involved with the program. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to go to Eugene and check it out before I get there, give me a shout, let me know if it's worth the trip. Everyone that I've ever talked to that's been there says that it's worth it. So that's the NCAA championships in Eugene, Oregon at the University of Oregon. Big ups to the Monmouth athletes that have qualified. Congratulations to the coaches that work hard to got those athletes there. And you know, best of luck in the future, and hopefully more Monmouth athletes will be striving and getting there. It'll also be on TV. If I was a little bit better prepared, I'd know when, where it would be on TV, but check your local listings, and that's the NCAA Track and Field Championships. And since we're on somewhat of the topic of the University of Oregon and Eugene, if you happen to check out the Prefontaine Classic last weekend, there was some pretty epic stuff going on there at the Prefontaine Classic. I'm not going to bore you with my spiel about Steve Prefontaine. If you don't know who he is and you're a runner, you've been living under a rock, or in my opinion, you shouldn't really call yourself a runner, because I think everyone that's a runner, that's into it, knows who Steve Prefontaine is. So if you're calling yourself a runner and you have no freaking clue who Steve Prefontaine is, get your ass on Google and do your research. Learn yourself some running knowledge. But anyway, big things going on at the Prefontaine Classic. I did prepare a little bit of this, so I'm going to run down some notes that I have and just give you some of the highlights. I don't own a TV, so I wasn't able to catch the live broadcast of the events, but I did go through on YouTube. Thank God for technology. Freaking love YouTube. And was able to catch most of the events, at least the events that I wanted to see. The only one that I wasn't able to catch or find was the women's mile. Women's 1500. So if anyone out there has a link to the women's 1500, send that my way. I'd like to check that out, but that was the only one that I missed. First things first, Friday night, the big hype was the men's 10,000 meters. It was supposed to be a showdown of some of the bigger studs in the world of the 10,000 meters. It was supposed to be a showdown between King Mo Farah, the defending Olympic 10,000 meter champion, and Kenenisa Bekele, who has been a legend at the 10K, 5K. Some could argue that he is one of the best ever at those events. So it's supposed to be a showdown that never happened. Big build-up, and then kind of like a title fight where the one fighter doesn't make weight. Mo pulled out at the last minute, citing he had been sick for the past week or two, and had decided to run the 5K. So no Mo in the 10K, but still a good event. Kenenisa ended up winning, running a 27:12, and he beat out Murga, who I think is a little bit more known for his marathoning, but also drops down to the 10K every now and then. And he ran 27:12:37 as opposed to 27:12:08. So it was a close race. Came down to a sprint finish, but you know, Bekele's pretty tough to beat over that last lap. If you've ever seen him race, you know, he's been known to drop, you know, some pretty fast last 400s after 6 miles. So it was a good race, good to watch. There was also some other races. There was a men's 1500 and then a men's international mile. I guess the big debate is if you're having these you know, extra mile or 1500 meter races, why aren't they all 1500 meter races, so these guys can get qualifying times for the A standard for the World Championships in Moscow this year. So check those out if you want. Those were on Friday night. You can find them on YouTube. Then on Saturday was the bulk of the meet. Some highlights. Justin Gatlin's back, 9:88 in the 100 meters. He spent some time on the sidelines, sitting out for suspension for using banned substance. He returned to competition last year, but it looks like he is rounding into form and kind of back at the top of his game. It'll be him and Tyson Gay at the U.S. Championships showing down, I'm sure. So that was a good one. Men's 400, big upset. Defending Olympic champion King James, Karani James, was upended by LaShawn Merritt. LaShawn Merritt's no slouch by any means, but going off of last year's 400, Karani James was definitely the king of the 400. A young guy, I believe he was only 18 or 19 last year. He was a little bit upset by his performance, and you know, but you know, those things happen every once in a while. You know, there's always people out there that are gunning for you. So props to LaShawn Merritt, taking it down in 44:32 for 400 meters. Pretty epic. Big event of the day, or one of the big events of the day. Big highlight was the women's 800. The big headlines was that I believe she's 17-year-old high school junior Mary Kane ran 1:59:51. That's right, 1:59:51 for 800 meters. And if you've ever run 800 meters, you know how impressive that is. And on top of the fact that she's a high school junior, it makes it even more special. So big ups to Mary Kane. She broke the high school record and the U.S. junior record. She finished 5th overall, and that's just insane. 2 weeks ago at Oxy, she ran 4:04, breaking the junior record there as well. So looking for big things from Miss Kane in the future. She's even though she lives in New York, she works with Alberto Salazar, the coach of the Nike Oregon project. He coaches Mo Farrar and Galen Rupp, Dathan Ritzenhein. He's got a slew of athletes that he's coaching. So I think she's in good hands. If we've seen from what Alberto and Galen have been able to do with their time together in the last 10 plus years, coming away with the silver medal next year. So definitely looking for big things to come. It'll be interesting to see if she goes to college or if she just continues to run and relocates to Oregon and becomes a professional. I'd have to think, judging by her nice new shiny spikes and all of her Nike running attire, that she is possibly getting some at least gifts from the good people at Nike, and respect to that. I'm not hating on that at all. I wish I could have a nice shiny pair of Flyknit spikes and some new Nike duds, but I'm just old and slow, so and Nike doesn't really have much in the way of trail running attire or shoes. So big ups to Mary Cain. And overlooked in that women's 800 was Brenda Martinez from the United States. She ran 1:58.18, which is a PR for her, and that's a big PR. I actually saw her run a couple weeks ago down in San Diego at the rerun meet put on by fellow New Jerseyan Pete Hess, and so that's an improvement for her. She ran pretty fast. I believe she ran under 2 minutes. She ran 1:59, so another second improvement. And the big thing there is that she's considered more of a 1,500-meter runner. So I think with that time, that kind of puts her at the top of the heap right now, heading into the U.S. trials for the 1,500. So that women's 1,500 is going to be pretty beastly at U.S. champs in Des Moines coming up here in a few weeks. So take a look for that. Moving ahead, men's 800, no Radisha. He pulled out sort of last minute. I believe he was nursing a little bit of an ailment. So the men's 800 went to Muhammad Aman. He ran 1:44.42. Nick Simmons was in there for third. He ran 1:45 and change. Dwayne Solomon kind of faded and finished a little bit back towards the back of the pack. Bowerman mile, Silas Kiplagat was like he shot out of a cannon in the last 50 meters, and he outkicked the Sable Kiprop, running 3:49.48. So that was a good race. Had to go all the way back to 9th and 10th for the first Americans, Lopez Lamag and Matt Centrowitz, running 3:51.45 and 3:51.79. So I believe those were PRs for both those guys. But it's tough when you're back in 9th and 10th to be stoked on a PR. But hell, I'd cut off both my pinkies for a 3:51. In the women's 5,000, Dababa ran 14:42.01. Pretty epic time there. Kim Connolly was the first American. She ran 15:09.57, and I think the big news there in the women's 5K on the U.S. side was that Shannon Roebury made an appearance in the 5K. She just missed the World Championships A standard, but she still ran 15:18. I'm pretty sure that was a PR for her. I'm not sure by how much, but she's a 1,500-meter runner, and 15:18 is a monster time. So big ups to them. In the men's 5,000, this is even though Mo had pulled out of the 10K, he did make an appearance in the 5K. He was outkicked by Edwin Soy, 13:04.75 to King Mo, 13:05.88, and they, the press made it seem like it was, big deal that the defending Olympic champion was beat, but again, think that happens sometimes. So and it's early, so and being that he's been sick for 2 weeks, I'd take a 13:05 any day of the week. Americans, we had Legat 13:07, Rupp 13:08, Chris Derrick right behind Rupp in 13:09, and another notable performance by Dathan Ritzenheim. He ran 13:09, and although Dathan has run under 13 minutes, had the American record there for a short time. That's his second fastest time, and Ritz nowadays is considered or looked at, I think, more as like a marathoner. So big ups to him running 13:09. It looks like he's hungry on the track again. So looking for some big things. That men's 5K, that men's 10K should be pretty hot at the U.S. Championships. And then the last thing, at least for me, that interested me was the men's steeplechase. It was Kip Roto ran 8:03:59. There was a little bit of a tangle up there the last, 10 meters or so. Looks like there could have been a disqualification, but there wasn't. And Kip Roto's only like 18 or 19, which is pretty amazing. He's one of the best runners, if not the best runner in the world currently at the steeplechase at 18 or 19 years old, which is just mind-boggling to me. Evan Jaeger, however you want to pronounce it, was back in like 5th or 6th place in 8:08:60. So just coming shy of the American record that he set last year. Pretty good for a dude that's only been running the steeplechase for this is his second year. So pretty amazing. So big ups to those guys, and looking for some fast times and some good stuff coming over in Europe in the coming weeks and months as we head into World Championships. That was all at the Prefontaine Classic, and we're going to close out the Stop Me project here talking about some local stuff here in San Diego. Last Sunday was the Rock and Roll Half Marathon and Rock and Roll Marathon. New course for both races. And the big news was the half marathon, not really the marathon, but Bernard Koech ran 58:41, which is the fastest half marathon ever run on American soil. But it's probably not, I don't think it's going to be counted towards anything, just because the course is a net drop. From the start to finish, it was a point-to-point, and from the start to the finish, there was a dip in elevation, a negative dip. So I'm not sure what the actual feet of the drop was, but regardless, 58:41 is smoking. And if you're looking at your pace calculator right now, save yourself. That's 4:29 pace for 13.1 miles. Pretty freaking fast. Nonetheless, elevation drop or not. Meb was back and forth, running 62:11. He's back in San Diego. He's closing on his house, moved from Mammoth, and is back home here in San Diego. So nice race for Meb. Always consistent, always up near the front. So great race for him. Women's side, Edna Kiplagat ran 1:08:56. And that's pretty moving as well. So fast times down in San Diego this past weekend. Also up north this coming weekend is the San Francisco Marathon. So good luck to all the runners running the San Francisco Marathon. Enjoy the scenery. Hopefully it'll be a little bit clearer than it was last year when I ran it. Last year it was cold and foggy. But it was a great race. Tough course, lots of hills. Enjoy the scenery. Definitely one of those races I'd like to do again at some point in the future. But looking at the clock here, it looks like we are just about out of time. So I'd like to thank everyone for checking out the Stop Me project. Go to stopmeproject.com. That's the all things Stop Me. My brother Jim is in charge of that site, so check it out. Leave your comments and questions there. If you're looking for more running information, go to runningwad.com. Check it out. Strength and conditioning, running workouts. If you're looking for ideas of what you should do to get faster, go to runningwad.com. Leave your questions, comments there in the comments section. And I'd like to thank the sponsor, my sponsor, Stronger, Faster, Healthier. Go to strongerfasterhealthier.com if you need omega-3